Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for our first webinar in 2025. We are going to be having a great look at 2024, all of the things that we've accomplished, and then looking to see what we have to look forward to in 2025, some of the themes and events that we have coming up. Today, I am joined by our coordinator, Seamus Mooney, and he is going to give us a little overview of what happened in 2024, some of the exciting things that we've accomplished, and then we'll look forward to what we're going to do in 2025. So welcome, Seamus.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So 2024 was a busy year for the Department of Emergency Management and Security. One of the major things that we did for the county was we conducted a full-scale sheltering exercise where we had multiple agencies working on how we would set up and run a full shelter related to a tropical storm. That exercise showed a lot of strengths and work that we've been putting in over a number of years. So it was a capstone event for us, and it worked really well. As we continued to work through that exercise, we obviously identified things that we want to fix moving forward, and we'll start focusing on those in 2025. Another thing that we did last year is, as people saw, a lot of places had a significant amount of damage and people disrupted related to hurricanes. So in response to Hurricane Helene, we did deploy our departmental staff. We sent one to Southwest Virginia to support them in sheltering operations and access and functional needs. And then we also deployed a team from Fairfax County, including emergency management staff, to North Carolina to assist with 911 dispatching to help their public safety assets around the Asheville area. Just recently, at the end of 2024, we activated our Emergency Operations Center to support the election. So we actually had staff in our main EOC with our public safety partners. And then we also had staff over working directly in our elections office supporting their needs. So we were working in both locations to make sure that day went as smoothly as possible, and everyone did a great job working in the election. One of our strengths in the emergency management is we have a duty officer program. So our duty officer coordinates the initial response or smaller responses for the county related to incidents. These are 3 incidents that we responded to. All of them were either sheltering related to a fire or fires themselves. So our duty officer responds out to that incident, helps coordinate resources coming to the scene, and really focuses on outside of the yellow tape or outside of the initial response and how to better support the community. As well as our duty officer sends a number of messages through our Fairfax alert system to the public. We send out weather, and we also send out, obviously, traffic information through that system. And now I'll turn it over to Courtney to talk about the 2025 FEMA topics and what we're going to be doing throughout this next year.
Thanks, Seamus. Yeah, so we're going to talk about a couple of FEMA topics that we'll see throughout the year, sprinkled into some of our messaging. So the first one is going to be resolve to plan. So we want to start the year off making sure that we have an emergency plan for our families and making sure that we're taking into account everyone in our families. That includes kids, individuals with disabilities, also pets, because they are also part of our plan. Resolve to safeguard. So this is regarding important documentation. So a really huge important part especially after Hurricane Helene, is making sure that we have our residents kind of ready in case an emergency does happen. The important documents are super important, whether it is documentation of owning your house or if you own a mobile home, having those ready, having important insurance information. It could be car insurance information, the title to your car, any of those things that can support recovery as quickly as possible. So having those together ahead of time is super important. And then resolve to budget. So budgeting is super important. We all practice it in our daily lives. But if you have the ability to take the steps to have an emergency fund, it can really come in helpful. I also want to remind folks that as you're putting together your emergency kits and working through those emergency plans, having some cash in your emergency kit is super helpful. And when we talk about cash, we're talking about low bills, so dollar bills, $5, $10. We don't want to have any large bills because we may not have access to a cash register or any electronic payments. So the lower the bills, the easier it will be to support businesses and get the goods that you need. And of course, while you're budgeting, think about those critical documents such as insurance. So having renter's insurance is always something that is super helpful to have. It will make that recovery a lot quicker. When we're talking about budgeting, insurance is one of those things that you need to help replace the contents of your home. We don't want to have to budget for replacing all the contents of our home. But if we budget to get the insurance and have the coverage, it'll help us replace those items as quickly as possible. And also having your bank information, readily available. So we may not be able to get our wallets or even have access to our wallets during an emergency. So you may have to prove that you have a specific bank account. So having copies of those or knowing how to get into your online accounts can make that process a little bit easier. So in Fairfax County for 2025, we do have a specific theme that we are going to debut, which is Together We're Ready. And it is a family preparedness for everyone. And we want to make sure that in 2025, we are really focusing on families and what does a family mean. We also are going to be doing some specific events related to kids and using different languages to get that message out. So Ready Fairfax is our preparedness program. So through some of the products that we work on, we will have some things that are focused specifically for kids and youth to empower them to know how to prepare for, respond to, and recover from emergencies. So a couple events that we want to highlight that we have to look forward to in 2025. In our newsletter, you can sign up for our newsletter through Fairfax Alerts, but we'll be putting out some more information. In April, we'll have a first responder interaction day where all of our public safety agencies come together and we work to serve the individuals in the county that have disabilities and access and functional needs to improve their interactions and give them the ability to practice interacting with first responders, whether that's a police officer, a firefighter, calling 911, simulating a medical emergency, and even just to become familiar with what uniforms look like, and that, everyone behind the uniform is still a person. And it's really meant to just improve that interaction. So individuals with disabilities and their families get to come, but the first responders also get the opportunity to interact with, individuals of all different abilities, which is a great way for them to practice and learn what the best way is to handle certain situations. We will be participating and putting on some public safety days within the community. So those dates will be coming. We're going to have a Preparedness Month Expo on September 6th, where we partner with the city of Fairfax. And that'll be at the Sherwood Community Center in the city of Fairfax. And then we are going to have a public safety day at the Emergency Operations Center and 911 Call Center. So it will be an open house style event. And we'll have that in October with all of our public safety agencies as well. I do want to highlight that we have some pretty exciting things that we launched in 2024 that are available for the public. One of those is our e-learnings. So we have 3 that are currently available to the community. We have one that is focused on individual preparedness, so introduction to preparedness for individuals and families. We have an introduction to preparedness for businesses, as well as one for houses of worship. So those are available now. You can go on, and they go along with the different guides that we have available for the community. We also, if you are looking for anyone to come out and do presentations, whether it's in person or virtually, we have a variety of workshops that we do. We have our introduction to preparedness. We have our 5-step neighborhood guide that is focused on preparing neighborhoods, whether you're an HOA or whether you're just a neighborhood looking to develop a preparedness plan within your small community. We do presentations to businesses as well as houses of worship. We have the Until Help Arrives program and Stop the Bleed. And then for youth preparedness, we'll be hosting a series of events throughout 2025 that will focus on youth. But we do have Scout Days during the winter months that are held once a month, where scouts who are working towards different badges through their merit badge counselor or their scout counselor can come in and satisfy some of those requirements with a tour of the Emergency Operations Center and learning about what emergency managers do on a local level. We have the Community Emergency Response Guide. There's a lot of different resources in here to learn about the different hazards in the county. We have templates to help you put together a family emergency plan. There's a checklist on how to put together a kit, how to use your communication tools, what are the best ways to get emergency information during an emergency. And then there is a great page that has all of the important contacts for our area that you would need to know, whether it's reporting a power outage or getting that non-emergency number if you need to report something, but you don't want to call 911. We also have some companion guides. We already talked about the business one and the houses of worship, but we do have some companion guides that are really focused on youth. We have a storybook. We have our middle one, Prepare, Respond, Recover, that is aimed at 4th to 6th grade. And then everyone has a role, which is really geared 6th to 12th grade. And that's really just something that we put together. So as youth are going through some of those merit badges, or maybe they just have an interest in what emergency management is, this is really to help them think a little bit more critically about what preparing for an emergency means, but also giving them the ability and empowerment to go and research some events that have happened and what has led us to shape what we do for the future. We do want to highlight, we have Fairfax Alerts for you to sign up for. We also have Community Connect, which is another tool that we partner with the fire department on. This is an address-based tool where you can sign up, and when a call is dispatched to your address, any of the information that you put in, whether it's information about who lives in your home, any special information about your home, if anyone has any individuals with disabilities or access and functional needs that live there, if there's anything special that we need to know about them, or whether you have pets, all of that information is available when a call is dispatched to your address. So it's just another great tool to aid our first responders. Both the police department and fire department have the ability to see that. And then the emergency health profile, that is phone-based. So if you are calling into the 911 call center from that phone that you've registered with, you have the ability to put in critical health and medical information. And again, first responders are able to get the information from the dispatchers from whatever you've put in the system. And Fairfax Alerts, really just going back to highlight, this is how we send emergency information. You can get weather information, traffic alerts. This is how we send out our newsletter. You also have the ability to get information from other agencies, such as tax administration or the area agency on aging. We also send out information about government closings through here. So a lot of great information that you can sign up for through this system. We have the county's emergency blog and the news center. So if there is any different hazards or weather happening, you can be sure to find information on here, and it'll give any, if the government is closed, a lot of this information can be found here. And last but not least, remember to follow us on social media. We are on X, formerly known as Twitter. We are on Facebook and then also on Instagram. So if you are looking for preparedness information or any up-to-date information on what is kind of happening in our county, we have our Ready Fairfax page, but the county also has the county official page, which is at Fairfax County, and you can find a lot of information on both of those. So what's up next? In February, we are going to dive in and focus a little bit more on planning for families and taking into consideration what it means based on what your family looks like. So we'll get into some specific topics. And throughout the year, we'll have guest speakers on to talk about some special events that we have, and also experts on different topics. So we may have a webinar on Community Connect. We may have a webinar on the emergency health profile and other services that we have here to offer in Fairfax County. So Seamus, do you have any parting words for us before we're done?
No, again, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today. Encourage everyone to make a plan, have a kit, stay informed, and looking forward to a great 2025.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, and Happy New Year.